Wow. What an unbelievable episode of Monday Night Raw. Or Monday Morning Raw, if you're on the East Coast of America, like me. Holy hell, this episode was mandatory viewing. I'll just say, if you haven't watched it yet, I advise you to do so before I get into today's episode. And yes, I will be discussing the vision at the end. But first, let's go through this week's episode of Raw on the JD Theory podcast. Now, we start the show off. Seth Rollins and the Vision come out to cut their promo. You know, the Titantron was on point. The Vision graphics look great. He's talking his shit. He says he did it all alone. He's on the top level. He gives Reed his props and reminds everybody that he doesn't need the Vision. They've chosen each other. And it really did feel deserved for Seth. I felt happy for him getting his big moment. And now, while this is a typical start to Monday Night Raw, having the Vision come out, this speech, it hit. After Crown Jewel, this was nice. So what did this segment accomplish? It would set up for what would happen later this night, which shook the world. Well, our first true match of the night, we have Penta versus Dominic Mysterio. And there was a great segment before the Penta and Dom match. Rusev coming out saying he'll allow this match to happen because the winner will face him. And WWE needs more stuff like this. Now in this match, the IC belt was on the line, of course. We start off super fast-paced. These two are great in ring together. The crowd is extremely loud for Dom, despite Penta being the face in this matchup. And serious question. Does Penta have the best super kick in the game right now? Because goddamn, you could feel them kicks. Phew. And there was also a great exchange of drivers in this match. The Penta driver, Dom hit his own driver. It was very exciting. And then Rusev comes out to interrupt, and I was surprised by this. Given the promo we got beforehand, it kind of just felt out of place. Excuse me. And Dom would use this as a distraction. He used a small hammer he keeps tucked in his boot and strikes Penta. Then he gets his 619 off. And of course, at the end, he abandons the evidence. Now, what did this match accomplish? Well, we already knew Rusev would face the winner of these two. I don't think it had to happen like this. I don't see why Rusev had to come out. I've been loving Rusev all year. But make him a man of his word. He'll allow the match to happen. Let him allow the match to happen. And Dom could have cheated using the hammer regardless if Rusev came out or not. You know, this is just unnecessary distractions. You know, I wasn't super crazy about that, but the match itself was really fun. Always loved seeing Penta, Dom, and Rusev, even if this wasn't the best way to go about it. After that match, we'd go to a backstage segment. LA Knight makes his claim to the number one contender triple threat. Oh, I gotta sneeze. God damn. Feeling off this morning. Now, Punk would come out to disagree with him. And going into this, I had high hopes for this triple threat. Asuka, then we see her yelling at Kairi Sane backstage, saying she lost, not her. We get confirmation for a Rio versus Kairi, and Asuka smacks the daylights out of Kairi Sane. Whew. Now, what did these segments accomplish? We get the build-up for the main event, and then we're slowly working our way towards the Kabuki Warriors split. I think they should have just done it at Crown Jewel. It was in my prediction video for Crown Jewel, my call. But Didn't happen. That's all right. We're going to keep the Kabuki Warriors together for now. Even though I'm like, how is Kyrie taking this shit? You know? So yeah, we're building up. Then we have Rhea Ripley versus Kairi Sane. Io comes out in Rhea's corner. I'm glad they're sticking together for now because it's been fun. You know, Kairi starts off throwing big chops at the start of this match. And, you know, it's a classic David Goliath situation here. Kairi is not getting any sympathy from the crowd. They just want Rhea to win. And honestly, I feel that. And, you know, we see Asuka and Io get into it on the outside, and Kairi would use this to get control of the match. Kairi is able to wriggle out of a riptide even after the nastiest headbutt you've ever seen. And Sane would hit a great insane elbow to the outside on Rhea, and she'd go for another one in the ring, misses, catches a huge razor's edge, and this match, it was just exciting. It was a really good match. I think this might have stole the show this night. And I'll say this too, I think this is my favorite performance of Kairi Sane this year. I mean, Rhea just gets the most out of everybody, it seems. And, you know, Rhea would catch Kairi out of the air, gets her in an electric chair position, and she just face plants her from the sky, ends it with a riptide, 3 count, hell of a match for just an episode of Raw. I mean, to be fair, this is the follow-up episode to Crown Jewel in Perth. But goddamn, what a banger. And we would get some post-match fighting with Rhea clearing the announce table to put Asuka through it. And Kairi, she comes out with a kendo stick, starts beating the hell out of Rhea. Asuka gets a DDT on Rhea on the table. The Kabuki Warriors, they're standing tall after this loss. Now, what did this match accomplish? I'm not sure, because I don't exactly want to root for Kairi Sane coming out of this. Even though she's being abused by Asuka, she's not exactly winning me over. And everybody's saying it's going to be this Sami Zayn moment turning against Roman Reigns. I think Asuka should betray Kairi Sane. I think Asuka should be so sick of her losing that she just outright attacks her. Like, not just a slap, like goes berserk on her. Excuse me, I'm blowing my nose. 1 second. We do these podcasts one take, just me talking about Monday Night Raw with my notes in front of me. That's the way I like to do it. That's how we're going to rock, for now at least. And yeah, we would, after this match, cut to a backstage segment. Jimmy wants to get his lick back on Reed after what happened at Crown Jewel. Him and Jay are still arguing since the fallout. Jay suggests they split up. He doesn't have time for Roman or Jimmy. He has to keep his eye on the prize. Champion status. And Jimmy stands on business. He says he'll handle his own. I like this. I love the bloodline drama. This works for me. Then, unfortunately for Jimmy, he would have a run-in with Bronson Reed. Now, Reed comes swinging heavy out the gate. Alright, here's my issue with this match. Jimmy has his ribs taped up, and honestly, I don't know why. I mean, he could lose clean to Reed. Nobody needs a reason why. I mean, Big Jim hasn't exactly been booked as a threat lately. Also, why is Jimmy trying to Samoan drop Reed multiple times? Well, one thing I will say, I liked his whisper in the wind spot. But then he tries to lift him again for the Samoan drop, causing him to collapse. He gets hit with a senton, and then a tsunami for good measure. And then post-match, Braun Breaker, he spears Jimmy twice, brutal, and Jay is now forced to come out so his brother isn't demolished. And I thought this would affect Jay later in the main event, because I love this bloodline drama, but the main event ended up being its own thing. Well, a bit connected, but its own thing primarily. The match, at least. Now, what did this match accomplish? Bronson Reed is being built up. Coming off Crown Jewel, he should be squashing guys. I mean, yeah, Jimmy got in a little bit of offense, but this was essentially a squash, and that's what I want. Don't protect Jimmy Uso. He doesn't need his ribs tied up. He wasn't even the one in the match on Crown Jewel. Bronson Reed fought the Tribal Chief. You don't see him with his ribs taped up. I think it was a little ridiculous, but that's fine. If we want to pretend Jimmy is this guy we need to protect, then book him protected. But you don't. But yeah, Bronson Reed, I'm loving his he has like a new sense of energy around him. He really feels strong right now, coming off Crown Jewel, and tonight especially. We would then get Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus the Judgment Day. Lyra, pre-match, she's saying how she can't even trust Bayley. Yeah, Bayley don't give a fuck. Bayley ain't stressing. Once the match started, my first thought was, I feel like I've seen this match every week for the last month. And this is another thing. We need to mix things up with these mid-card feuds, since these matches, they're just blending into each other. I mean, Bayley and Lyra, they do some goofy dancing attack combos. One thing I will say about this match, Lyra has great striking throughout, and it would get to this funny spot where Lyra smacks Bayley in the face to snap her out of a daze, and Bayley goes nuts, taking out Roxanne and winning the match, and Wade Barrett calls it best on commentary. It's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. I'm not in love with it. I think it's a little... It's goofy. Don't get me wrong, it's goofy wrestling, and I love goofy stuff. I really do. But this just feels so random. I don't know. It's been better. I feel like the last 2 weeks I was a bit more harsh on this Bayley character. I just don't seeing it getting her where she needs to go. I don't know if I'm into this pivot or not. I think I'm leaning more towards not being into it. I don't know. The Psycho angle, I don't know if it's doing it for me right now. Then we would go backstage again. Paul Heyman, he was singing Seth Rollins' theme song. That made me laugh. Seth is proud of the vision. He's loving the dynamic. I'm loving the dynamic between them. And it was fun seeing Seth really acknowledge himself as a mentor. Also, Survivor Series is over a month away. And here's what I wrote in my notes. We can really flesh out the Vision's relationship with each other leading up to their big group match. And I also wrote, well, this is an assumed big group match. Nothing confirmed yet. And now, I think it's pretty safe to say that match will not be happening. Not in the way it was envisioned when I wrote this, at least. I'm sure something will happen. AJ Styles is also talking to Adam Pearce. Dirty Dom would come out, complain about Rusev, and AJ Styles says, hey, me and Dragon Lee, since you're doing such a great job defending your belts, why aren't your boys defending their belts? So Styles and Dragon Lee versus McDonough and Balor confirmed for the Raw Tag Team Championship. What did this segment accomplish? It sets up that match. And, we're going to get towards Rusev and Dom. And why do I just feel like Penta's going to interrupt that match now? This needs to be resolved in, maybe a 3-way at a pay-per-view. Something. I need something to happen here. We have all the right players, but we're not hitting the right notes, in these storylines. We're not hitting the right beats. Because this is also something that's been going on for months, like a random Penta versus Dom match for the title. I feel like that's happened 3 times now. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure at least. And it usually always ends in a distraction, so I need more. I want to see, and I am very happy Dom is actively defending now, because that was a big problem a few months ago, but now it's really good. I just need some continuous continuity within these rivalries. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good right now. I'm not mad about it. We would then get Stephanie Vaquer. She comes out, does an interview with Jackie, and I was like, this could probably have been backstage, right? And she drops the stat that she is the first woman ever to win 4 titles in 1 year. Is this true? If it is, that's awesome. Raquel and Roxanne come out to call their shot. Roxanne says she's the last to beat Io Sky. She deserves a title shot. Vaquer accepts, and then Roxanne says she'll challenge on her time. You'd think she'd be a little more eager to get that title shot, right? I mean, isn't that what you came out here for? What's the wait? Get it heating up. I mean, this is getting it heating up to begin with. I don't know, I thought the wording was a little odd, because we're going to build this towards Survivor Series, I assume, and this could be a great match. Roxanne has been very impressive this year. Then we would get to our big main event. Now, this is where things start to get off the rail. Jey Uso, LA Knight, CM Punk. It's a number 1 contender match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And right away, this is a brawl. First half of this match sees Jey Uso primarily in control. It would then be interrupted by CM Punk's knee to the face. He then takes control. And there's this odd spot where Punk hits a GTS, and he could go for a GTS, and he opts for a slam into an elbow drop instead. It was a little weird. It's like, if you can GTS right now, then do it, because I knew immediately after when he would actually try to do it, it wouldn't work now. And yeah, of course, this wouldn't take LA Knight out. He uses that opportunity to get in control. He has a great spot with a double elbow drop. And then there was another awesome spot later. LA Knight superplexing Punk, only for Jey Uso to splash on Knight when they fall. And then the blunt force trauma connects on Punk. Uso interrupts the cover. Then Uso goes for a splash, only to catch the knees. Punk gets the GTS. We get a really fun 3-way match. Punk is now the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now. So much happens in the last few minutes of this show. First off, what did this match accomplish? We have Punk lined up. In theory, Punk is next in line, because he won this huge match. But post-match, the Vision comes out. Braun spears Jey, spears Knight. They surround Punk in the ring, then swarm on him. Punk eats a charged up spear, then a big tsunami, credits roll, Vision standing strong, and wow, Braun Breaker spears Seth Rollins. What a swerve. Heyman is shocked. I mean, his face is the exact face I'm making. Just in utter shock. It's crazy, man. Breaker tells Reed to either join Seth or him. Reed chooses Breaker. And it just ends. We see Heyman lifting Reed and Braun Breaker's hands in the air. Breaker has Seth's belt on his other. Just wow. Now, what did this accomplish? Easy to say that the Vision is done. At least the first incarnation of it is done. Seth has been booted. Now, there's been speculation. Is Seth injured? We know after that flying coast-to-coast headbutt, his arm was pretty off for the rest of that match because of the way that he landed. Is this a way to write Seth off TV? I believe so. And he's obviously not going to be aligned with the Vision when he returns. If he even goes away to begin with. I don't know. This is speculation. Braun Breaker is clearly going to be the leader now. So, are the Vision going to be a tag team for the foreseeable future? Do we see them run through the tag division? Do we get that going a little bit? Do we have each of them gunning for different titles? Do we see Reed go for Intercontinental and Breaker go for the World? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happens now because this is such a... I think if you can't tell where the story's going and it's exciting, something is going right. Because you could be good but predictable, or predictable, not good. You could be random and not good. But if there is genuine excitement and you don't know where it's going, that's a good story. Now, I wonder, I have some additional notes. Was this too soon? Was this too soon to split the Vision? It hasn't even been a year. They haven't even really become, I guess, like a true stable faction. Feels like it's fallen apart before it really even got the full gas. It was more just Seth hyping up these two young bucks, but now it's like the Bucks are running wild. I will say this episode in length, it felt shorter. I didn't actually check if that's true, but Raw, if it feels nicer being closer to 2 hours instead of 3. And I'm glad to see Dom getting more title defenses. Taking a sip of water, excuse me for a minute. Delicious. I wrote best swerve on Raw this year. Usually moments like these are reserved for pay-per-views. This was amazing. And I also wrote, I'm curious to see how Braun Breaker intends to lead the Vision. And I wonder if they, they pull the trigger on Braun Breaker moving into a really big main event program. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. We could do him versus Roman. That feels likely. Him versus Lesnar. That would be huge. Maybe he faces Cena in one of these final dates coming And was this too soon? Maybe, but it maybe also was the perfect time since none of us saw it coming. And we twiddle our thumbs so much about, who's going to be the next big superstar, and you have to wait like 5 years for all the older wrestlers to retire. I think this was a good call. I mean, get Braun going now. Get Reed going now. There's no need to wait. What's it going to do besides, make them feel unimportant? You need to pass the buck. That's how it goes. I will say the World Heavyweight Championship scene, extremely healthy right now. Raw, in general, is in great shape. And it was a must-watch episode. Now, let me just go through everybody we saw tonight. All right, Jey Uso, excited to see what happens with him. LA Knight, not sure where they go from here. Do we spin away into a LA Knight Jey Uso thing? But we got that a lot, it feels like, already. CM Punk is probably going to get into the mix with either Breaker or... Dude, it's so hard to call because the whole scene is scrambled now. Vaquer versus Roxanne. I don't see Roxanne getting a victory over Vaquer, no matter where it happens or when it happens. I don't know if it's time for that yet. The thing about the women's division, they actually do build new stars frequently. It's not like you need to wait 5 years for somebody to retire for that spot to be filled again. We're not wasting time over there. Bayley and Lyra. Yeah, I'm not exactly excited about Bayley. Lyra, I think she's great. I think once you get through this whole Judgment Day phase, which I think they might be pivoting away from now with the whole Roxanne and Vaquer storyline, I think you want to get Lyra away from Bayley. Of course, they're going to need their singles rivalry fallout. Have Valkyria stand tall at the end. I think her work with Becky Lynch was great. I'd love to see her get back into that Becky feud. That would be fun. But maybe not yet. Maybe we put that to the side for a year or two. Who knows? Bronson Reed. I wonder, will the Vision just be like attacking everybody? Completely loose, nobody tell them otherwise? I mean, Paul Heyman's not going to be denying their will. Braun Breaker is just going to take it for himself. I wonder, do we get more new young superstars added to the Vision? Is this the chance to build a really new stable? Get Ethan Page up in there? Dude, Oba Femi? What if Oba Femi was in the Vision? Just 3 big monsters. Oba, Bronson, Breaker. Oh, think about that. 3 beasts. I think that would be great. WWE, if you're listening, yeah, write that one down. Yeah, I also, let's get away from the Kabuki Warriors thing. I mean, let's get Rhea versus Asuka in a pay-per-view match, or even better, Io versus Asuka. Did I say Io or did I say Rhea? I don't know. I want to see some variations of that. Kairi Sane, if she's in a singles match against either of them, it's just to lose. I want a big match with Asuka. Let's see. Penta I don't know, it feels a little lost in the shuffle. Yeah. I mean, overall, this was a great episode of Raw. Don't get me wrong, there was definitely some matches and segments that I think could have been done a lot better, but if all in service of what would happen, what would be the end of this episode, then I'm okay with it. Because the destination, it was worth it. It was worth it. I'm excited to see what happens on SmackDown. Of course, I don't cover SmackDown on the podcast. I just don't have the time for it. Comes out on Fridays. It's not very convenient for me to cover or watch most of the time. I usually just read up on the results, go through some articles, But, yeah. Good episode of Raw. We're going to have the NWA Power review for this week's episode, which is not out yet. Power will be dropping. I'm recording this the morning, October 14th. So, the day after. Couldn't watch Raw live. I watched it when I got home from work. Had to stay off the internet all day to avoid spoilers, and thank God I did, because if that was spoiled for me, I would have been pretty pissed off, And you can't trust this, like these YouTubers putting. I love Santi's app, but goddamn, I boot up YouTube right after I finish the episode, and I just see a video titled Braun Breaker betrays Seth Rollins, or The Vision betrays Seth Rollins, and I'm like, man, if I just opened YouTube at any point today, the whole episode would have been ruined, Can we keep spoilers out of the thumbnails, out of the titles? I get it. It's a chase. Who has the big scoop first? But I don't know. That's just my opinion as a fan. It is what it is. Either way, love this episode. Love all the reactions and content. I usually watch Santi Zapper or Simon Miller, specifically Wrestle Chop. Those guys are good. Get their opinions after I record my own. So, gonna go check out what they said. I did watch Santi's. Did I watch Santi's video yet? I don't know. I watched something. I listened to the Friendo podcast when I went to bed. Yeah, people are up in arms about this whole swerve. It's very exciting. I'm going to see what other people in the community think. I mean, in the comment section, I would love for you to let me know what you think. And maybe we do a video like, where does Braun Breaker go from here? Something like that. I don't know, like a video discussion topic idea kind of thing. I think I might do that. We'll see if I can get that out by the end of the week. I am working on some bigger videos like the Attitude Era bracket. I'm doing a ton of notes for it, which usually the brackets are kind of loose and immediate. This time I'm coming with a lot of information. So be prepared for the Attitude Era bracket. The Classic Rock tier list should have came out the day before this. And then the NWA Power is probably dropping either tomorrow or Thursday. We'll see how it shakes up. Oh wait, no, this is coming out Wednesday. So either Thursday or Friday. We'll see. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And bye-bye.